Oh, right. We're in. Welcome to the 90s. Like all Lamborghinis, they're not the easiest of things to get in and out of. Even though the exterior of these things is absolutely huge, the inside is still pretty compact. So let's get the doors down. As we've said before, we always know we're in the 80s and 90s. We've got half a dozen immobilisers and things to even start the cars. So let's see if we can push some buttons and get this thing into life. We've got a whole array of warning lights and things going beep. Oh, there's no denying where you are, is there really? And the inside of this one, I mean, as we said earlier, if you're going to have a Lamborghini, it may as well be a bright purple one. Lots of Alcantara in here, lots of, there's a lot of stitching going on, but it actually looks, really retro, really cool. Seatbelt somewhere. So, as we said earlier, this is the SV one. So these came in 5.7 and 6 litre engines. So this is the SV, so a bit more horsepower. So we've got about 500 horsepower on tap here, which has got to be respected. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was no traction controls and things like that. So first thing you look at is the view down the bonnet. We've got an enormous dashboard here. Can't even see the front of the car. I can see the wiper through a very raked screen. The front's down there somewhere. Visibility wise, I can see a bit of back wing here. All I can see through, we put the camera up here so I can see what I can see at the back. There's literally the little dealer sticker takes up most of the rear vision, so you can't actually see very much in this thing. Let's see if we can get it warmed up. Okay, so we're just coming out through the estate. These are very similar. I mean, for anyone who's ever driven the Countach on one of these things, it is a privilege to go out, and they're not the easiest of things to live with. The seats are pretty comfortable actually, not too bad. Clutch on the Diablo is a lot easier than it is on the Countach, and it's one of the things, like we're just moving along slowly now, you always have to protect the clutch on Lamborghinis. It's a colossal job to do a clutch, its engine and everything else, and we've got some pictures of when we've done them previously. It's a mammoth job, so you always pull away, just pulling out to the road now really slowly, just get it going, because if you fry the clutch it's going to cost you thousands. And again, you're looking out the front on something you can't see the corners of, so you're just sort of guiding it generally down the small roads here. One of the distinct things on the Diablo is the length of first gear. It just goes on and on and on. It's one of the longest first gears you'll ever have. I mean, we've only just changed into third, and you can see we're halfway down the bypass. I mean, I know these things are supposed to do about 190. We're not going to get anywhere near that today, but the gearing's certainly there. Work out the progressions of each gear, you can't doubt that it will go that fast. Gauges wise, we're very 80s and 90s, round gauges, white numbers, lots of them. We've got oil pressures, we've got coolant pressure, temperatures, there's lots of gauges. It's very simple 1990s style, early era of electronics and things for the heater controls. Again, we're going to try and just move across here. I hope there's no one on the rear quarter. Something else you get is the reaction of all the people outside the car looking at this thing. It's not every day they're going to see a bright purple Lamborghini come past them. And with the noise of the exhaust, we just ease this one up a bit. I mean, it sort of sounds like you'd expect a purple Lamborghini to sound. Torque of the engine, you're just touching the throttle, just easing it, and it's going. I mean, I know there's a lot of power here, but you can feel it. And even though it's maybe a little bit dated power, it's nothing like the new cars that you get today. This is quite raw. No, if you open the taps on this fully, you'd be hanging on. You'd have to respect this thing. Gearbox, a lot better than the Countach gearbox. No, we're changing gear very nicely. Clutches, doesn't take assistance on the thighs to work the clutch. Like all things, they all sort of evolve and things get better. But you are aware of the sheer width and the girth of this thing. But the noise is what it's all about. Surprisingly easy to drive. It's got huge amounts of torque. I don't know what the exact torque figures are, but you can just feel going through the gearbox. It's just pulled on this wave of torque. So you've got the luxuries like power steering and things like this. So we're coming round a roundabout. No big deal. Fairly easy to live with. You're not heaving it round with arms like Popeye. The controls are very easy to live with. You're not going to break into a sweat driving this one like you do in some of the other cars. You might go deaf though. If you're in it for too long, you might need earplugs. Oh. Well, if it sounds this loud inside, you can only imagine what the people are experiencing outside. Okay, so this one's now ready for collection really. Just to recap on what we've actually done to this car. It had a few stone chips on the front, so we've just blown in the front for the owner. We've obviously done the service and just general service and maintenance. Got it on the button, and as you can see, it's ready to roll for him to go and enjoy, and some other people to enjoy when they see him going past in it. So what more can I say really? 1990s, bright purple, very loud, very Lamborghini, hugely enjoyable, and it makes you smile, which is what classic cars are all about, and this one doesn't disappoint.